Dun, 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 dun.
They can't hear you if you whisper, apparently.
I can definitely hear.
Is anyone here? Oh, that's us. I can see us.
Oh yeah, there's me.
Right, check out us in.
That would make sense because
I've got a YouTube. Yeah, it says you're on.
Bang average continues.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and warp spiders, to that 6 plus show. I am your host, Tom, and I am joined tonight by a whole cast of characters, including my dear leader, Chris. How are you doing, Chris?
I am excellent, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm on holiday. It's nice. It's a good
Me
feeling.
too.
Yeah, adequate amounts of rest is really quite fun. Really quite fun. I'm enjoying that a lot. What have you been up to with your break?
Relaxing, spending time with my beloved,
Aww.
and painting. I have actually started painting again. Been working on some Dire Avengers.
Oh, that's very exciting. Good.
It just kicked into gear the other day that we're approaching 10th, and I still haven't actually played my Hail of Doom list yet. So
You have not. It needs to happen.
I need to get that going. So I nearly finished the first 5 on my final batch of 10, and then we'll be ready to go. And then tomorrow,
Sweet.
I'm going to see Stuart, and he's going to teach me how to airbrush.
Oh, amazing.
And then at the end of tomorrow, I'm going to have a load of airbrush jet bikes, and then I'll be definitely ready to roll.
That's super exciting. Yeah, that'd be fun. I think that's a very cool list to play as well. Are you looking to TTS practice it? Is that the plan?
I think so, because I
think
have
so.
spent some of my time TTS
Yeah,
learning.
I did the
so,
same thing this weekend.
Yeah.
I actually got stood up by another person that's here, and that is Ed. Hello, Ed.
I definitely didn't stand you up. I
No,
don't
you
know what you're
didn't.
talking about. No proof. No proof.
Ed
Have
and I set up
Yeah.
a TTS game, which was at 8 in the morning. Got up at 8, having been out late. Set up TTS game, and then Ed's power went. So he just disappeared.
Just
he was
to
he was just
chip
about
in,
yeah. Go on.
before you take me as the villain, which is my role, we have decided. Why were we playing on the Sunday instead of the Saturday?
Was it
when
my
we were
fault?
initially going?
I think it was my fault. Yeah,
It
it was my
There's
fault.
always another side, isn't there?
There is. But it's actually Ed that lost out because he was about to absolutely roll me with his Grey Knights, and he didn't get to do it. So it would have been quite a funny game, I think.
You chalk that up as a win, Tom, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing anyway, Ed? How are things with you?
Yeah, not bad. I'm trying out a few different things. I feel like there's no point refining Tau lists at the moment until the data slate drops, so I may as well just play something new for a couple of weeks, see how it goes. Then later in the week, get back to that.
Is there anything else in your sort of thoughts? Because obviously the Grey Knights are what you're testing with me. Is there anything else that you're interested in right now?
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I have been looking at the 10th edition stuff coming out with stars in my eyes because Terminators look great.
They do.
I'll not say any more because that might spoil a later bit of the show. Perhaps, if we get into it.
Okay, all right. No, that's good. As I say, Terminators do look awesome. They look really cool. The models look amazing. Okay, I'm also joined by Lewis. How you doing, Lewis?
Very well, thank you, sir. Very well.
What's new in your life, Lewis?
More Imperial Fists. The fifth company does develop, and those Terminators are going to look great in yellow. Just saying.
They really will.
So I've been painting up the bases of the Imperial Fist 5th Company in preparation for Gibraltar. I did get a bit sick of painting yellow, so I moved on to doing some bases because that's a bit more cathartic, isn't it? Just splashing PVA glue everywhere and putting sand everywhere, so it's been a lot more fun. And more excitingly, which is it's not 40k, so apologies everyone, but the Saffron Sigmar tickets are now live.
Whoa!
We have an event pack that Jack has very kindly helped me write because I haven't got a clue about Sigmar missions.
Is that the one and only type best Gloomspite Gets player in the entire world?
Indeed it is, the very same. We have sold 2 tickets already. Both to managers of Games Workshops in the local area, so it's clearly we've got some Games Workshop input, which is really good. I know that the Sigmar community is not as big, but I'm really hoping that we'll still get the 20 plus players that we want, and hopefully show them a really, really good time, and try and build a bit more of a community because there aren't that many Sigmar events, so it'd be really good to have a regular one. Obviously, if people want to come, fingers crossed.
Yes, no, I'm excited for that because that'll be about the level at which I can handle Sigmar. I think going and having a nice sort of a fun sort of more relaxed vibe. That'll be really fun to do. So I'm going to try and get some people to that. Sean Capewell, by the way, has informed you that you could do yellow texture paint bases to go with your Imperial Fist, and I think that's a great idea, personally.
Don't tempt me.
Just like yellow men standing on some yellow ground, picking up some yellow rocks.
Shooting yellow bullets.
Just some Dr. Seuss vibes going on. Okay, finally, save the main event. The main event. I'm also joined today by Davey. How are you doing, Davey?
Oh, hello! Oh, sorry, I blew everyone's eardrums out there. There you go.
that was really
There you
powerful.
go. That's what you get for listening to us.
How are
Hello.
things, Davey?
Things are great, man. Things are great. You know what, Terminator's getting good. You know what? Because I've heard they're not good enough at the moment. Like,
No, I agree.
you barely hear about them. So no, great to see that they're finally getting the wins they deserve. Yeah,
Yeah,
other
I
than
think
that, all
they're
good,
going to
man.
need some. They're going to need some more layers of durability. I think. But
Oh,
hopefully,
yeah,
there's
100%.
some
They
kind
die
of
too easy.
wound mechanic that they'll get that we don't know about yet. That'll make
It's
sure.
the
we
thing with
can't-
Dark Angels players. They always complain about getting tabled, don't they? That's so annoying.
I
It's
know.
so annoying.
I know.
But no, I'm hyped. I've got 4 events in 4 weekends, so that's going to be fun.
Have you actually? You
Yeah, man.
maniac!
I've got an RTT, an RTT, a GT, and a GT.
How are you playing all those games in one weekend? He didn't know what to say there.
David was sort of like. He was
oh,
definitely
no,
deciding.
really?
He was deciding like, what happens if I just don't dignify that with anything?
Pretty much. Pretty much. No, but no, super happy to be doing that. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
And that's
fun.
going to be with the Tyranids still.
Yeah, man. I've started. I painted this little geezer, and I've got some more on the way.
Oh,
So
yes, you
this
do.
is my alternative, long time. You know, a long kind of, long-term kind of army to paint for
Yeah.
10th.
Absolutely exciting.
Because we all know the Tyranids are going to be amazing for the first 2 weeks and then go in the bin until
That is how it has
Late in the
conventionally works. Yeah. That is usually it's Marines good, other starter army pretty bad. Then other stuff comes out. Marines players cry for 2 years. Marines then get good again. I cry for about a year and a half, and then we go round again. And we're in the me crying stage at the moment. That's what we're deep in that. Deep in that. Okay. I mean, your Eldar look beautiful. I really like the scheme. What's the craft world that is? It's one of the. There's one of the little ones in that.
My mirror.
you know.
My
you're asking-
mirror. That's it.
Sure. Yeah. Sound. I am not a law person.
Craft
No.
world blue.
Blue. Yeah. Craftworld blue. Yeah. That's what it is.
Blue.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Sweet. Well, there's no data slate. Might not have escaped your attention. Nothing
What are
has
they playing
changed.
at? What are they playing at?
Nothing has changed. So that means that today we're going to muck around, basically.
Scramble around for content,
Well, yeah, pretty much.
but it's going to be awesome.
Unfortunately, wedded ourselves to a live show just before a whole run of weeks where basically we're waiting for a new edition to come. But that's fine. We'll muddle through. We'll be okay. We're going to do a Just the Tip segment focused on Desolation Marines. We're going to have I Fought the Law from Lewis. Chris has got a meta guessing game for us that I'm very excited for. We're going to do all your listener questions, and there are some doozies in the listener questions this week. Davey has a mystery segment, which I am here for. Very, very here for.
I'm surprised
Um,
Chris allowed a mystery segment, especially coming from Davey. Where is this going to go?
It's rogue.
So
It's
I actually
rogue.
messaged Chris this morning. And I've got something that's I think it's really funny, but you're going to have to trust me.
Do you?
Yeah, do you trust me? And he was like, and you could see it. It could say like ... disappear.
Typing,
Disappear.
typing.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Chris is a real sort of like said know where all the moving parts are kind of person, so I think this is emotionally quite difficult for him. So I think you should be very grateful that he's allowed you to do whatever the hell it is you're
Should be your
going
one
to
and
do.
only chance, baby.
Yeah, it's more my only chance.
All listeners, if we have to cut the show because Davey's undressed himself or whatever it is he's got planned, I
Not too
apologise
far
in advance.
We can only see his top half.
Before that, we've got a few shout outs and plugs because we're really good at self promotion, excellent at self promotion, in fact. And so we're going to start. Chris is going to take us through the Plus roundups, and I've got a couple of shout outs for various things as well. So, Chris, do you want to take us through what's happening in Plusland?
In Plusland, well, we have been carrying on with our weekly shows. So we've got Bugwatch with Davey, in which he was very excited because Tyranids did quite well, didn't they, Davey?
They did. So one guy in Canada won a GT with a list that doesn't make sense, but having spoke to him, he's really keen to he thinks it does. So I'm going to read through all of his comments. The other
Okay.
one was a GT set up by a guy who then won his own GT. So
Alarm bells.
what a hero! Do it. Like, yeah, cool. Do it. I want to hear it.
What a hero. So yeah, there's that.
Was he the only player?
No, there was 56. I want to say.
Did they all have exactly the same name?
But with
No,
different
no.
numbers after them.
Yeah.
His name isn't actually his name. It's Paradox. That's just all it says on BCP. Paradox. Yeah. So he's
This
a man
makes
of
me
mystery.
trust,
Does he like an
trust the results
interactive
even more.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got that. We've got a new state of play.
Yes, we do.
which is For all those Custody fans.
Yes.
So Tom spoke to Jamie Bolcombe, who came
Yeah.
number one.
Who was
number
lovely.
one.
He'd never done a podcast
Yeah.
before, and he was a real sweetheart.
I
And
was really impressed,
Really
actually.
smart and earnest, and so analytically on it, but also really funny as well. He's just a lovely man. Got a lot of time.
I was really impressed with Jamie on that actually. So if you're a fan of Custodies, definitely check that out. Then we've got a couple of bite-sized battle reports. So we've got Orcs versus Dark Angels, and we've got Drukhari versus Tyranids.
Different ends of the meta represent.
Yeah. And those are out, and they're doing quite well at the moment with some nice comments. So check them out. Aaron's just sent me the latest Expanded Empires.
Oh, amazing.
So that'll be up as well. Other than that, we kind of just, I'm sure when the data slate drops, we'll try and do like a little hot take
Spring into
video
action.
or something. But yeah, that's us for the week.
Yeah, very nice. Cool. And then I've got a couple of shout outs. There is a Twisted Dice charity event that's going to be running in Sunday the 7th in May, which is raising money for Mind, the UK mental health charity. So very admirable cause. I will make sure some links and stuff go up on our socials and around to promote that. Kyle from Twisted Dice, he's a lovely man who's always running on the door at club there and has been for years, and has always made me feel super welcome whenever I come through the door. Just a lovely guy with his heart in the right place, and so I think it's going to be a really fun casual tournament. I was planning to go there with my GSC and just kick everyone in and run around with a trophy and be like, yeah, no, I'm not ready, but I might attend if I'm able to schedule it. I'm still hoping I might be able to do that. But definitely think it's a really worthwhile cause. And then I wanted to do a little shout out. I've decided just this morning when I woke up that we're going to have a 6++ above and beyond award for when people do ridiculous, nice sporting things in the hobby. Because I was listening to StatCheck reporting on the semi-finals of the Manchester GT and essentially the timing issue that happened in the game between Brian Sape and Alex Harrison, whereby both players lost a big chunk of time off their clocks for time scheduling reasons, which they didn't fully understand at the time. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they both ended up with much less time than they were expecting to have. And then in the context towards the end of the game where Alex Harrison had essentially clocked out, Brian Sape, who was playing his Iron Hands, been playing that for a while, opted to share the time and allow and then eventually sort of not progress through the bit of the game where he'd been the only one playing, which would have got him the win. Ultimately, it was just very sporting and didn't want to win in the context where they both lost time, and it felt mucky and not right to him. So I think, Brian, you're an absolute babe. Every time I've played you, I've been completely destroyed, but also been very struck by how much of a nice man you are, and you are the very best of us. So that's the 6++ above and beyond award for you. I'll write your name down somewhere in the Discord where it will live in, well, for however long the planet lives, I guess. So yeah, thank you very much, Brian, for all the love. Yeah. Yeah. Until ChatGPT says no, delete. Yeah, he's just a wonderful man. So I cannot shout him out enough. And hopefully, whenever those kind of stories make their way to our ears, we will try and shout out all the wonderful things that people do for the good of the game and for sportsmanship around the world as well. Wonderful. That is us done self-promoting. Aren't we good at it? Wouldn't you say we're good at it? I think we're good at it.
The best.
Yeah, the very best, some would say. So now I'm going to hand over. I don't know what's coming next. I've got a Davey segment written in my notes.
All right, cool. So, guys, gals, the internet, everyone at home, we're home and talk about data slate today, right? But we're trying to get content ready, and it's like, oh my god! But then luckily, I picked up the phone, and on the end was a 40k celebrity, ladies and gentlemen, a 40k celebrity, who has said he'll come on and talk to us. I'm going to go and grab him right now, and I apologise for this, but I'm going to go and grab him right now while I just share my screen. 1 second. All right.
What is going on? I don't know. I'm scared. Tom, hold me.
I can't. I'm not in the same house.
Oh my god, this is taking longer than I thought.
Is he actually taking his clothes off?
This
gonna be a
translates
wig, isn't
really
there?
well to podcast, by the way.
Yeah, it's really good for the those listening. Oh no!
I saw some boob. Saw some side boob.
We can't hear you, David.
Can't hear you, David. Can't hear you.
Definitely saw the words, for fuck's sake.
Still can't hear it.
Still can't hear you, David.
For the people listening at home, Davey disappeared underneath the desk, so completely disappeared from view.
Oh, this is going
He-
great. Can you hear me
Oh,
now,
he's
guys?
back.
Oh yeah, we
Yes,
can,
I can hear you.
Hey
now.
guys, it's so great to be here. I'm Adam
Oh,
Cameloni. Oh my god,
Oh,
Not his name.
it's great to be here. It's
Hello,
great
Adam.
to be here.
Oh,
We're here today to show you. Have a shared screen? Is it working?
yeah.
So can the audience at home see my screen?
yeah, we can see your screen.
You can see it? Great. So welcome to the Tuesday show. I can't place his accent, so I'm going with a generic Australian miss.
I think you're ending up more Kiwi, are you? I can't really work
Oh,
it out.
mate,
Don't worry, Adam.
don't you ever say
Who
that
spells
Adam
Tuesday with a
Canterbury-
B?
No, that's a 6, mate. Don't you ever say that Adam Canterbury is
Why
not
have you gone
Kiwi.
Cockney? Michael Caine.
Go down the apples and pears.
All right, Chris. I heard you had some questions for me. Is that right? Oh my
I
God,
do. Firstly, thank you so
Michael
much,
Caine
Adam, for coming to join us. But I guess, what are you doing in Bedford at the moment?
Well, mate. I'm only here for tonight to be on the show because Dave asked me. I'm actually going over to France tomorrow to start a new 40k team.
Oh my
Oh,
word.
what are they called?
It's called Art au revoir.
What?
Was this the entire reason for the bit?
I've been really enjoying listening to my favourite British musician, mate. Yeah, it reminds me of a very good friend I have.
John Lennon?
No, Robert Plant. My good friend is a geranium. It's really nice to be here, being Adam Cryptocurrency. I'm so happy to be here, mate. I'm the nicest man in 40k. I am the lovable rogue that is everything of 40k. Hey, Chris, I'm actually going to a GT while I'm in France, dressed as my favourite superhero.
Iron Man's?
No, I'm taking Dark Angels, mate.
Oh,
All right, guys. So, if you haven't been to the Thursday show before,
Cockney's back.
what? Fuck off.
He's trying, Lewis.
We
The
haven't been to
Tuesday show.
Thursday we haven't been to the Tuesday show before. What we do is we unpack the biggest and best events. Oh God, let's go and talk to you again. I'm Australian. Fuck me. Sorry, my language.
You've got an inner Michael Caine
Is
that
this-
just wants to come out.
Is this America? Because this is a train wreck.
I think it's great.
I love
Adam,
it.
I'm so glad you're...
Fantastic train wreck.
Robert Kimpton says seamless accent there, making me homesick.
All right, so we're gonna unpack. Kangaroo. Bloody hell, mate. All right, we're gonna unpack some amazing lists, some spicy lists, all that kind of stuff. And guys, let me tell you something. We're gonna do it right now. Let's do it. All right, we have the MK Outriders. It's not a GT, it's an RTC.
It's an
And
RTC.
in Milton, which I believe is near London. It has 12 whole players and 3 rounds. Yeah, the quick and dirty stats. So we're going to go through each one of the. We're going to go through the Pax Infodium. We've got Imperial. Imperial got 1 faction. We've got Grey Knights. In Space Marines, we've got 2 Dark Angels players. In Chaos, we've got 1 Chaos Knights. We've got 1 Demons, and we've got 1 World Eater. Xenos.
Xenos.
No!
Xenos. Hot damn.
Australian. We've got 1 Oaks. No, that's Cockney again. This accent's
Darren.
way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I
We've
didn't
got
realise
1
that.
Vardan. We've got 1 Empire, 2 Tyranids, and 1 Assurani.
That was alright. That was good. Say Ashurani again. You nailed that.
Put another shrimp on the Azurani.
We've got the faction party, and we've got 2 Dark Angels, 2 Tyranid players, and everyone the fuck else has got 1. In the super faction stats, we've got 3 Chaos, 3 Xenos, and 1 everything else. Everybody, Assurani, 1 everybody else. All right.
That doesn't even make sense.
Let's have the first list. Let's have a look at it. We've got Aaron Wilson, who's taking Orcs and he's taking Goths. Let's go through his list. Tom, do you want to go through his list for me, mate?
Yeah, no, look, I'll be very happy to help you out here, Adam. So I think this is a classic Goth pressure list. It's got a bunch of stuff that you take to a casual 1k RTT, but then doubled that. That's pretty much what he's got here. So you've got basically all the good units in Orcs with absolutely no fat on it whatsoever. It's going to absolutely smash into things, take up a lot of space. It seems to have dropped to kill rig since the last time I played it in favour of just more and more and more bodies. There is a lot of Storm Boys, a lot of Commandos. This thing will run you right over, especially if it goes first. And it scores really well while doing it.
All right, Lewis, what do you think of this list, mate?
I'm just struggling, mate. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right. Yeah. That's totally insane.
My brain, I haven't had enough sleep for this. But yes,
Well,
there are some boys.
Yeah.
Yes, boys.
You're giving nearly as good analysis as the Thursday show, mate. This is great. We might have you on as a guest. I'm only kidding. The Thursday show's fantastic.
We love that. Should be very obvious that we like the Thursday show a lot at this point.
Is this happening? Is this real?
Yes, mate. It's really real. Really real.
What
So
is
what do we think, fellas? What do we think of this list?
I think it's very, very strong. I don't know how it's going to go. I haven't seen the Dark Angels list, but I think Dark Angels would be the only things at the event that I'd be particularly concerned about slowing this up.
All
I
right.
think it's going to take a lot of names.
The boys
Ed, do you
aren't
think
squads of 30, so that's never a good thing. Always a black mark if you've got squads of 10. Who does that?
People who
Oh,
want
wow.
their boys to live.
Let's go on to the next list, mate. All right. We've got Tom Loverman. He's
Tom Loverman.
El Dowry with masterful shots and master of concealment. Ed, do you want to go through this list for me, mate?
Oh no!
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not doing this 12 times, are we?
I hope not. Obviously, everyone's favourite Barahoth, who doesn't die and is a bastard.
Yeah.
The Farseer Skyrunner, who doesn't die and is a bastard. Jane Zar, who, funnily enough, doesn't die and is a bastard. Morgan Ra, which I think must be a misspelling of the what's the Harlequins model with that big gun? Must be a typo. No sane human being would put Morgan Ra in a list when they
No,
can have a
that's
Death
pretty
Jester. So obviously a typo on there.
Someone who is forcing themselves to paint Morgan Ra when they've had him for ages, mate. Right? Like
Oh, it's such a gorgeous model.
It's
Such
just
an
beautiful.
incredible model.
it is just beautiful.
Oh, it's so
yeah.
spicy, mate. It's spicy.
Yeah, I'll send the TO an email after this. Make sure they correct that typo. And then you've just got all the good stuff: 5 Rangers, 2x5 Die Revengers, just to kill everything. Howling Banshees, Striking Scorpions to charge you turn 1 if you like playing on the line. And then just an unreasonable amount of non-line of sight shooting. The raid tier itself does have a D cannon, which is just fun for the whole family.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I think it's a really strong list, this, mate. I think it's going to really go far. I think it's amazing. It's
Tom,
super
do you wanna-
spicy.
Do you want to tell us why you chose Masterful Shots and Master of Concealment?
Masterful shots is ignore cover, and I just think that's a really neat trait to have. This is actually I'm torn between two other custom traits. Master of Concealment gives you cover outside of a certain distance. So on UKTC, obviously one of the issues you repeatedly have is that you're hiding behind cover. You're not actually on it, but this effectively means you can hide behind cover and still be getting cover. So you have Phoenix Lords with an effective 1-up, which means they're not going down to shooting. You have a Night Spinner that's effectively on a 2-up. The artillery can deal with, let's say, I don't know, there might be some new units in the meta that like to shoot a lot of AP something shots at you from a long distance, and this can mitigate that to some extent, I would say. Well, I like Swift Strikes a lot. That's the other one. I'm always torn between the two. Swift Strikes for the extra movement and still shooting and battle focusing. This list also has some some warp spiders in that just didn't make it into this slide.
Well, I won't lie, when I was trying to prepare these slides, I had so much stuff I had to make the font really small.
Have you ever heard of columns?
But this
Well,
is
the Thursday show haven't, so I stuck close to the source material, mate.
this is quite a scary list to deploy because, as I say, I deployed it against Ed, and it's just like I've slightly tweaked it to have slightly more stuff because Ed was like, I think you want more stuff, and I think Ed was right. So I've got, but you put it down, you've just got every single unit has to do its job absolutely perfectly for this to work. And like a Poundland Vic VJ, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go in there and god damn it, I'm gonna do something pretty and clever and hope that it works.
I will say you only half followed my advice because I said you should drop the 2 individual D cannons you had and Morgan Ra. I see half of that being
Morgan
followed.
Ra was a non-negotiable for this weekend. Morgan Ra is not going to the London
Buddy,
Open.
look,
God damn it, Morgan Ra
Morgan
is going
Ra-
to an RTT in Milton
Morgan
Keynes.
Ra didn't kill a single Grey Knight model, and that's all I'm going to say.
Your power went before he could shoot.
And that means that I'm correct.
yeah, you are very much right. I'm excited about Morgan Ra. I think he's fun.
Is it true he has a big shuriken sniper
Cannon,
rifle
yes.
that does not have the shuriken keyword?
That is correct, Chris. He has arguably the original shuriken cannon, which does not have the shuriken keyword.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why he's bad. Next
Hey,
question.
Ed, that is one of several reasons he is bad. I will not hear it. But I'm going to have fun with it. I'm super psyched to run this list. It's going to be really fun.
All right, great. Well, best of luck to Tom Loverman. We've got one more list. It's Davey Little.
Spare me.
Davey Little.
Bringing Leviathan Knits. Chris, do you want to go through this list for me, mate?
Be my absolute pleasure. So Davy Little here is gone for 2 Hive Tyrants, presumably with wings, 10 Gargoyles, 10 Termagants, 5 Tyrant Guard, 3 Zone Thropes, there's a blast from the past,
Wow.
4 Carnifex, and then 2 Harpies. I'm getting some deja vu from a few months ago. This is very exciting.
If I could just quickly jump in, I've been following Davy Little. He's a up and coming, very exciting player in the Tyranid space. And something that you need to know about this list is guns. There are guns. There are 2 relic guns up across the Hive Tyrants, and I think a total of 12 guns across the 4 Carnifexes. Is that correct? Could you chime in?
I reckon that's correct, mate.
It's a lot of guns. Now, some would say there might be an issue if you get charged, but I think Davy's plan is to go first and not get charged, which I've got to say is a fantastic tactical, decision.
And this can spring a lot of shooting out of reserves as well. The Harpies are obviously going to drop and get angles. You can potentially have some Carnifexes skirting around getting angles. So there's going to be a turn where this is going to hit you really hard in the mouth. And it's how much of a dent it makes when it does that, and whether it's able to capitalise.
All right, great, guys. Well, thank you very much for the analysis there. Guys, the big question is, who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? Ed, what do you think?
I think the Votan player.
All right. Lewis, what do you think, mate?
Tom Loverman. Just
Tom
for the name.
Loverman. It's a strong list. Chris, what do you think, mate?
I don't know who else is going, so I'm going to say Dark Angels.
Were you not listening earlier, Chris, when he went through everything?
Dark Angels there?
Dark Angels are there, yes.
There's 2 Dark Angels lists. I would say there. I'd say.
Which one?
If the 2 Dark Angels players
first one.
have brains that work, they should be all right.
There's one with 38 Deathwing Terminators, and then there's another one that's just your regular kind of meta list.
Yeah.
Okay, the one with all the Terminators.
Yeah,
all right. That's a
have
good
it.
friend of the show, Stephen Vessels. All right.
Nice.
Great. Well, and Tom, you've given us yours. You're thinking the Dark Angels are going to win as well?
I think so, yeah, unless I completely dodge that matchup and just score a load of points.
All right, great.
Backing yourself there, Mr. Loverman. Nice.
Yeah, casual Tom. We know he's very humble. All right, great, guys. Well, thank you very much. That has been the Tuesday show. I've been Adam Complimentary and the most loved man in 40K, the best energy that you've ever seen. And I'll hand back over to Chris to take away the show. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thanks for coming on. Real pleasure to get you. Can we do a state of play for Dark Angels sometime? I'd love that. No, he's good. No, he's...
Oh, yeah, of course, mate. No problem.
All right, great to see you.
Is this a hate crime?
There will be repercussions.
Are we the baddies?
No, there's going to be repercussions for this. There's no way that there won't be.
Can we just all look in our cameras and formally apologise to Adam Camilleri
Adam Calamari.
for what has been done in your name? I can't apologise with words.
On the off chance that he listens to this, we're ruined.
No, it's the start of a beautiful relationship. It's going to be okay.
What is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery. The guy's a legend.
I mean,
You're back, Davey.
He's the absolute.
Yeah, I thought
Davey.
I was trying to manage the magic, but
you will not believe who was just here.
No way. Did he come in the end? I had to go to the loo.
I can't believe he's cracked out a Tyranids Codex retrospective and this in one day. The man is a machine.
Did I trash our view numbers? How did that go?
I don't know. I can't see these things.
Oh, we've got nobody watching.
No, we've got 19. I was like, no, we don't.
I wouldn't blame any of them.
Somehow the viewers didn't drop. So,
Fantastic.
More impressions in your future.
I'm curious to see which players you decide to do impressions of in the long run, but I strongly encourage it. I think it would be very funny if you can do some more. Right.
No, I think only Adam's pretty. I didn't exactly nail his accent, did I? So I think it's just broad characterizations.
Yeah, sure. And he's quite saint-like, so it's nice to do a homage. Right. We've got some other segments that are just going to seem, on some level, much less interesting than that, and that's.
I think we've peaked. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm going to bed.
We've got just the tip, and then we got I Fought the Law. So I'm going to start with just the tip. So Desolation Marines. I've been thinking about Desolation Marines this week, and I think there's a bunch of things. They're a very good unit. They're going to be very prevalent in the meta if nothing substantial is done to them in the. Oh, hello, Aaron Wilson. If nothing is done to them balance-wise in the data, I think you can expect to see large numbers of them in Marines lists for a little while. So here are a few things to mitigate that. So I've just listed them in a sort of stream of consciousness, so I'm just going to stream of consciousness them for you. Certainly on UKTC, Desolation Marines are going to want to be in the big left side ruin. They have a 30-something inch range on the low line of sight gun, which means there's actually quite a lot of space and play for going up the right-hand flank and then pressuring objectives from that side on some missions, so that's worth looking at. You can stay outside of it, otherwise, and you can, as when I played Space Wolves, you can force them into a position where they actually want to step outside that ruin to do things and then kill them all in one go. Traits that reduce or negate AP are really good and useful against them. There's a reason Rusted Claw has suddenly reappeared for GSC, Valorous Heart Sisters, particularly on the Storm Shield ladies. Very, very nice. Anything that can negate that AP when you're in cover, it's the same reason that the all Terminators Deathwing list just runs straight over it, because it doesn't give a damn about Desolation Marines. Toughness 5 and Toughness 8 are both really good breakpoints to have. The small shooting doesn't like Toughness 5 and it doesn't like Toughness 8. Speedy combat that can reach them, so anything that you can really, really yeet through. Harlequins have some stuff like this. Or artillery of your own to punch back at them is obviously very nice. 3-up saves and decent wounds in cover are still, to be honest, quite hard for them to shift. And stuff that turns off rerolls hurts them a lot, because they still have that very old school type Space Marines efficiency, so anything where you can prevent rerolls from happening, Bellicor, be very, very annoying for them. Light Harlequins, very, very annoying for them. And if you are designing lists for the current meta, I think you need to be thinking about Codex Warfare and trying to have very minimal numbers of little chaff units that are just going to give up loads of Codex Warfare scoring. And if you do, put them in reserves and see if you can sort the Desolation Marines out in a couple of turns before stuff like that appears on the board. If in some circumstances, obviously it depends on the army that you're playing and depends on how much use you can put it to if you do that. But there's no point having stuff that they're just going to pick up and score easy points whilst doing it. They're still a really strong unit. They were dominating the club games at my local club when I went down on the Monday. A lot of very short, very sad-looking games. But that's what Twisted Dice sometimes produces on a Monday night. And I think that's about it. It's a good download. Go out there, kill lots of Desolation Marines, make me happy. And fingers crossed they'll do something about them. in the data slate. I appreciate I come at this with a significant degree of T3 janky bias because obviously they come for me and my people, and I can't stand for it. That's your tip.
Beautiful.
God damn those Desolation Marines. I haven't played them yet and I already hate them.
Are there any at the RTT? Because I'll be very annoyed if I've tech for them and they don't
There's
exist.
none. There's none. There's just Dark Angels, man. They're the only Marines. Because Grey Knights can't take them, so
What
yeah.
a waste of my time.
Yeah, man. There's no guard either. It's weird.
Oh, Kenneth Ward's in the chat. Hey, Kenneth Ward. Nice to hear from you. That's lovely.
He was congratulating on my easy first round win.
Who was it again?
Well, for context, I played Alex Petford, who is, probably one of the best players in the world. Team England. I've had the absolute pleasure of playing on a team with him when I was a last-minute sub, and I can confidently say I like standing next to him more than I like standing across from him. It was a lovely game, but I don't know if anyone remembers saying that I took all the tech for the Dark Angels matchup out of my list. I then played 2 Dark Angel games in my first 2 games, so I felt really happy about that decision. But it was a good game. I enjoyed playing him.
The 2 experiences you have, isn't it? Where you tech for it and you don't hit it, or you don't and you do. It's just sod's law. I always have that with demons. Whenever I'm not ready for demons, I play them like twice in an event. It's so annoying.
When I took Tau to Coventry, I was like, I'm going to learn Tau at Coventry. 8 games, that's enough time to learn an army. And I played demons 3 times out of my first 4 games. I was having a sad time.
Yeah, that's rough.
Jack Davis Fletcher says that Tom is pretending to be teching for indirect when he is the indirect. Yeah, Jack,
Yes.
It's the UK in 2023. Everyone's doing the thing they're telling you to worry about.
I didn't realise we were doing biting political commentary on this podcast. But why not?
Oh, man. But also, Jack absolutely rolled me with his mortars when we played the other day, and I've been thinking about artillery ever since. So there we are.
I hate artillery.
I
Just as
also
a rule,
really
it's just
do.
crap.
They've got to put artillery and flyers in exactly the right box.
Yeah, they've opened too many kind of cans of worms, right? Because they introduced aircraft, they introduced mortars. I mean, mortars were kind of a thing for a while, I suppose. But like all these kind of thematic parts of warfare they've introduced into the game are almost impossible to balance, right? How would you ever balance indirect shooting? Really,
I'm going to say 2 words. 2 words RE indirect shooting, and I'll be interested to see what everyone's thoughts are. The 2 words are minimum range.
Okay.
What do we think?
Oh, I like that.
I think
So
I'm
it's not
putting them
gonna
in
hit
my back
stuff.
corner.
It's not going to hit stuff if they're within like 24 of it or something.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, you put minimum range 24 if you want to do out of line of sight. It's long range stuff.
I don't hate that. And then I think the key for it is for it to function according to weakened logics in terms of how much damage it does and how much stuff it does, which they kind of had adjusted it to do, but then they gave them a bunch of stuff that hits on 2s or ignores those things in the case of Guard. So it's just how you square that, isn't it?
I think they just write rules for 10th edition that make it not oppressive, and then it's
But how do you do it?
Flyers,
they had it nailed, and then they gave loads of ways to ignore the penalties, which already existed, but then they brought in a Space Marine unit with good non-line of sight. So if you have the models already, and then you write rules that don't make them strong, I think it's fine, because no one was taking non-line of sight for like 6 months after they nerfed it, or whatever it was.
But then it's not balanced, is it, right? It's crap.
Yes, that is balanced.
Which I agree. Is
balanced
great.
out the game.
Good artillery should be, if you leave 5 dudes that cost 40 points on a backfield objective, I can punish it. It should not be whatever you do, I'm going to kill you. Right? That's the role it's supposed to play. It's supposed to be plinking, and across the game, it will clean up and pick up little units which keeps you honest in certain ways and puts pressure on in certain ways. And I think pre Imperial Fists in 8th, it kind of was in that place for most armies. It was something armies had, but it wasn't disastrous. Then Imperial Fist came and ruined everything.
Whoa.
Remember
Let's not
Marines?
start casting aspersions.
They absolutely did. That was, Manny, the best Imperial Fist player in the world, went to LVO and lost a game only because he killed his opponent so quickly that he was then unable to keep scoring points.
So good. So good.
Classic Manny.
Yeah. That's the same event as the Broviathan list.
It was. That was when Proviathan came
He
through.
lost
Yeah.
to
And it was the
Proviathan.
Proviathan list that he killed so
played
quickly that he
Lennon,
couldn't
yeah.
finish scoring.
He tabled everything apart from like the unkillable dread and
Yeah.
troops in
And then
like
he
2
couldn't
turns.
get in because you used to have the kill more scoring, and
Yeah,
then he was
so you
stuck
couldn't
on the
kill
kill
more.
more scoring forever after that.
Remember the maths on that dreadnought, and it
Yeah.
was
Just amazing.
legitimately unkillable.
I played
Yeah.
against that at Beachhead. My first ever Beachhead, I played Ben Jones, who was on that list, and I just ran into him with like my first Eldar list. It was just like, oh no, I'm crumpling up like a piece of paper.
Ben Jones, the incredibly
I don't know
technically
what's
skilled
happening.
player, also having an army where you
Just
just don't even
literally-
need to be technically skilled.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Like having seen what he's done in the last couple of years, I'm like, oh, Ben Jones is a brilliant player. But in that, literally all that happens, I just ran into him and I died, and that was the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Davis Fletcher, you're right. No core and no rerolls and those kinds of things. I think that all helps to mitigate it. Like Eldar shooting, which is perfectly fine, balanced, and reasonable.
It's really not. I
It's
hate
not.
it so much.
It's horrific.
It's God.
But
The
there's
old
not as
wave
much
one
of
is
it.
worst when they've got the 3D cannons.
Both way D cannons are insane.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, gonna reduce my AP by 1, are you? Cool. What's that? AP 3?
yeah. So I think we're now ready to hand over to I Fought the Law, and the Law won. Because Lewis is on hand to drop some law wisdoms on you.
Hello.
Over to you, Lewis.
Hello, hello, hello. Everyone who wants competitive 40k, switch off now.
Don't tell people.
Alright,
I will
see you
keep
later,
this.
guys.
We got through
He's actually got brilliant.
we got through
Thanks, Flagman.
Larry's entire visit without telling anyone to leave, and now you're telling them.
No, these shows are going to be incredibly popular, and
Hello, Dom.
it's
Nice to
going to
see
be
you.
a valuable addition to the team content. But yes, so a few weeks ago, on this very podcast, we introduced what will be our new series on 6++, our lore series, which we're calling The Rest is Warhammer.
Oh, yes.
Based on some other famous podcasts, where we'll be diving into the history of the 40k universe in hopefully a semi-entertaining way. Now, if you were around a couple of weeks ago, you know that our first episode or two, which we're actually recording this very week, so hopefully should be out in the next, I don't know how long it takes Chris to organise these sort of things, but some point in the future, we're going to record this week, is going to be about how the Emperor and his lackeys make Space Marines, how they turn small vulnerable children, into superhuman killing machines. Now, last time we spoke about one of the organs that gets implanted into a Space Marine during this process, which was the multi-lung, which is obviously quite a physical thing that happens to a Space Marine or happens to a child. So this time I thought I'd go down the mental route and we talk about some psycho-indoctrination, which is a pleasant topic.
Indoctrination, hell yeah.
So I think this really does kind of highlight the level of the horrificness of 40k in general. And always keep in mind, and I will say this all through the show that we do, this is happening to children. This is happening to 8 to 12-year-olds. This is not like fully grown adults. This is kids. This is just awful.
Okay, well, that would produce a salamander, I think, tonally speaking.
Isn't it? Sure, Kate was. It's not when a mummy Ultramarine meets a daddy Imperial Fists and they make a Dark Angel baby.
I'm glad you read that out, because I just realised me and Tom were laughing while you were talking about how horrifically treated 8-12-year-olds were.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
also,
again,
I'm a little concerned that I've seen Chris taking notes. Chris, our resident teacher.
Chris is like, finally a way to get the content team putting stuff to me on time.
So all you need for this, Chris, this is all you need. The only equipment that you need is a hypnotherapy chamber, which you can get on eBay, £3.50.
Or Wish for
3D print one.
£2.50.
Yeah, you might even be able to 3D print a hypnotherapy chamber. And you are going to need some drugs as well. So just you might have to ram raid a pharmacy or something like that. Anything that will heavily sedate children.
Okay.
So
My
not
teaching
creepy
will
at
do
all.
that. That's fine.
This is not grim dark. This is all perfectly fine. No one from the NSPCC come and have a look at what the Space Marines are doing to each other. So it's all okay. But yeah, so they take these children, they put them in this hypnotherapy chamber, like drug them up, like they'd be like Drukhari witches that are looking at that going, yeah, that's some good shit.
Oh man.
And So these kids are just they're on a different planet already. None of it, they were just sitting in a chamber at the moment. They've taken loads of drugs. And then they basically turn the chamber on. And this chamber it's just like visual, olfactory, oral stimuli that just gets blasted into these kids. For literally days on end, these kids just get subjected to this like mess of sensory overload. Now, the effect of that, which is quite amazing, and actually, whether the ends justify the means, I don't know. Whether you want to do this to your kids, Chris, or not, but it awakens the kids' minds to their own metabolism, meaning the children can actually control their own metabolism, so they can slow things down, speed things up. Now, I'll come on to what that actually means in a minute in practice, but the ability to do that is probably quite a useful thing to do. Now, as you can imagine, unfortunately, few of the kids, and it doesn't say a percentage, everywhere I've looked I can't see a percentage, few of them start to die. All a bit much, as you can imagine. Now, I don't know whether it's just the cocktail of drugs they're ingesting is what's killing them, or it's just losing their minds completely. But frankly, I could probably understand, like, they're being shown images of all sorts. It's like proper nasty stuff. So, but as a result of this, as I say, they can control their own metabolism, which means they can adjust their nervous system, so they can decide consciously whether they want to feel pain or not. They can alter their senses, so they can make their eyes better or their ears worse, if they need to shut sound out or smell things better, all that sort of stuff. And they can, and as a result of that, they can like basically endure pain that would kill an adult.
Oof.
Immediately. So they can just sit there and go, nah, I've just decided today I'm not going to feel pain, and we go from there. And obviously the process of becoming a Space Marine is quite a painful experience anyway, so they do need that. It gives them photographic memories, so they can just remember stuff, and then they can react at ridiculous speeds to stimulus in the future. So they can do like Matrix style stuff and things like that. So
Wow.
And somehow they retain some form of personality, and I think this is probably the point where Space Marines start forgetting, like, because like Space Marines will remember where they came from, they'll remember the planet they came from, but they won't remember like their parents and things like that. They won't remember that much for their upbringing. They will transition to a point where they're effectively a new person once this process is finished. So they retain personality but don't retain memories, meaning they can still think independently and think differently, but not through life experience.
Yeah, they've sort of been wipes, clean slate in that
effectively.
sense.
So yeah, that's a bit of a downer, isn't it?
So the personalities, like the personalities that they have, like you think about like the audiobooks and stuff, they've all got personalities, right? So that's like that's like an after echo of someone that they were, but actually they basically started from scratch as just a man that fights in a spaceship. Wow.
Which is really interesting because actually they would have been they've had personalities before they went in, but as I say, they'd have been sort of 8 to 12 years old. So I'm a very different person now at age 30 to what I was at age 8. Yeah. So what I don't quite understand is if you've basically got a load of souped up 8-year-olds that are running around with an 8-year-old's brain. Maybe that's why half of them turn traitor.
If that doesn't explain 40k, I don't know what does.
Yeah. And this is why everyone should play Tau. The good guys of 40k.
The good guys. Different kind of indoctrination.
Or Eldar, the good guys of 40k.
So sign up to be a Space Marine, guys. It's all good. It's all roses. You'll be absolutely fine.
That is interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you very much for this.
By all of this, they still move at the same speed as an Imperial Guardsman.
He's got a pencil in his hand!
He's taking notes.
Placed the order.
Oh no! Taking notes the whole way ever since Adam Campbell was on. He was talking like.
Didn't he make that soup?
Dom says no Tau here. I fully agree. Sean Catewell says I think it's called Call of Duty. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just us prepping them.
A lot of hard-hitting social commentary tonight. We need a data slate, GW, because we're starting to notice that the world exists again.
All this from watching GB News.
Yeah, the numbness is fading. Like,
I'm looking around, I'm seeing the tank that I'm trapped in. I'm like, what's going on?
Games Workshop, feed me content.
More Warhammer in and put me back into blissful ignorance, please. Fantastic. Right, that was
So yeah,
our
more of
lore.
that.
Yeah, great job,
More of
Lou.
that coming up
Thank
in
you
a
very
week or
much,
two.
Lewis. Yeah, as I
hopefully.
said, Lewis and I are recording the first one tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, so we'll get that done, and we'll go all through all the details on how Space Marines are made, and then I'm going to make Lewis do exclusively like minor CSM Legion lore for the next 5 months.
No, definitely not.
Which I'm
I'm
really
thinking I would, and obviously anyone in the chat that wants to suggest topics,
Yeah,
that'd be
please
really,
do.
really great. Because I'd rather make stuff that people want to listen to,
Yeah.
rather than what I think is good, because my brain is weird. But I am in thinking about. We've got 10th edition coming up. It looks like Tyranids are going to be the big bad. I'm thinking after we've done an episode or two on the making of a Space Marine, we might start diving into the Tyrannic Wars, because they the stories that got me into 40k. That original story, the Battle for Macragge, is where my 40k life started.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful. I'm very keen for that. Maybe we can get Davey in as well, because Davey loves Tyranids. Obviously, he's a
100%.
big lore guy that he
We
is.
love lore.
Yeah, he
Huge
loves
law
lore.
guy. Huge, yeah.
Well, you might learn something, David. You might love the Tyranids even more than you currently do.
Yeah, John's right. We'll get a Discord tab up, and we'll take suggestions for topics in there. Aaron Wilson, thank you for your suggestion of female Space Marines. That sounds like a really, really good topic that we'll be able to do without causing any kind of argument with anyone.
Can we get the series up and running before we ruin it with some political commentary?
Yeah. And the Claude Fiend meta never came, Dom, because it was just, I think it was either a lie or they just corrected that points cost before it went to print, before it went out.
Great shout by Skivo, by the way, to put suggestions in Discord, perhaps.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Jakaria already buffing up. Jack, have you run your guard into Jakari recently? Jesus. Play that game, see how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Right, okay, we're ready for another dangerously unspecified segment in which Chris has a meta guessing game. Chris, do you need to go away and dress up as anyone?
Well, I feel very lacking now because poor old me.
Just show us your nips, mate. We'll be
Yeah,
fine.
just get 'em out. Just get 'em out.
Yeah, sorry about the nips, guys.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It made my
Never apologise.
Never
Understatement,
apologise for the
nakedness.
nips, Davey. No, so as we're now streaming live, it's kind of pointed out to me that the idea of just like getting people involved and having like mini games, a bit like a radio show, could kind of be a bit fun. I know a lot of people enjoyed the faction game we did last week, so I thought we could embrace the classic higher or lower game. So I couldn't think of an imaginative title, I'm afraid. So we're going to guess the Warhammer meta over the last 409 days in a fun but informative game using data courtesy
Fun
of
and
StatCheck.
informative, like teachers like. Yes.
Absolutely. So what I want you to do is I want you to cast your mind back to last February, because that is when data began, according to StatCheck. And
Okay.
I have pulled together some data from last February. So that's Nephilim, that is Natmund, that's just all of the stuff.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a percentage of a faction win rate, and you're going to tell me if the next one is higher or lower. And then we're going to keep track. And then this game can be, if you want to play along at home, that'd be great. And then this game can be changed in so many ways. We could do unit point values.
Yeah, we could do all
We
sorts.
could do data on or statistics on how much a unit kills, all that sort of thing. There's just so many fun possibilities, guys. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you one to start with, just as a little tie-break warm-up. And then we're going to start with Necrons. So I want you just to have a think. And I'm about to say write this on a bit of paper, but I've just remembered that Tom does not have
No.
a pen. So he could paint it.
If you're at home and you don't have pens because your life is a mess, you can paint with lead belcher, or you can spray with Mechanicus Standard Grey on a bit of
good eye.
coat. Yeah. Oh, I know Mechanicus Standard Grey when I see it.
I knew the teaching funding situation was pretty awful, but I would support you to must have at least one pen in that building somewhere.
Look, it's somewhere, but lead belcher was right there, and that's ultimately the choices that we have to make. That's the thing.
Get
So-
up from the chair or spray on a bit of paper.
Exactly that. So
Our start point is Necrons, and I want you to put down for me what you think the Necron win rate has been since last February.
Higher.
No.
Oh, across that entire
I
time.
just want your percentage. I don't want to. We're just going to warm up with a number. I want you to keep it down. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Fucking
and I'm
hell.
going to show it.
Okay, across.
Well-
I can't do a number.
Okay,
I
well, you
thought
can
we were
show me
doing-
your fingers.
Get your paint.
Yeah.
Shake the paint.
Chris, this is the total win rate since February to now.
Yes.
Okay.
And join in the comments. What do you think the Necron win rate has been since last February?
Okay.
I may have gone too specific. Why have I gone specific? I've given it a decimal place.
I don't have any more paper. I only got one sheet.
Wow. Okay. So, we've got some 60, 51, 60%. That's a bold claim.
They've had some good meta and some bad meta in there.
We've had some good and bad, right?
Hard to say.
Also, starter army boys, never assume a starter army has a good win rate. That's never good.
True.
Oh, thank you, Chantal. What a hero.
Aww.
Right. Are we ready?
Oh, totally ready.
So, Tom, what have you gone for?
45.
45. Davey? Can't read that, slow it out, mate.
Oh, Davey, I tried to message you on the
43.
internal chat so we didn't have to keep it and we could keep our slick, seamless transition, but I did message you to say unblur your background because you can't see the sheet.
And now we can't
Now I
hear you.
can't hear it.
And Lewis's camera's gone.
Gone.
I'm here!
Oh, Lewis did some sort of
People would
face
see the
shit.
state of my room.
Okay.
Okay,
Not
so we've got
right,
45
James
from
Marsden
Tom.
does
Davey,
500.
what have you gone for?
43, mate. 43.
43, Lewis.
40.
And Ed.
Low.
I'm feeling positive. I've gone for 51.4%.
Okay, that's
Needlessly accurate
I like
on
that. Let's have a look
Also,
at
the measurement on Ed's hair at the moment.
I'm way below 51.4%.
5.1, sorry, 5.1.
5.1, that's about right.
Okay, right. Well, I can tell you that the percentage is 49%.
Oh, I thought you were going to stop at 40.
No. So
Who was supposed
Jack,
to?
Jack went for 48. So well done, Jack. Excellent work, sir. Right. Okay. Well, we're now going to go into the rounds of higher and lower. Okay.
Okay.
So Necron's at 49%. Imperial Knights. Do you think that's higher or lower? Imperial Knights are higher.
I was playing
You need to
competitively.
keep it down, Lewis, so we can't see. Come on.
Don't show your hand yet, mate.
I'm keeping track of who wins. Currently, you're on 0. So, Imperial Knights, are they higher or lower than Necrons? Okay.
Are we counting
Ready?
players that use
3,
Valiants?
2, 1, and show. Oh, so we've got Tom's gone lower, Davey's gone the same, Lewis has gone higher,
David's
Ed's
found a way to
gone
break
higher.
the system. Classic 40k
And
player.
chat, we've got lowers and highs. Well, I can tell you that Necrons are at 49%. Imperial Knights were lower at
No.
48%.
Yes. Get in the bin.
We had a
Everyone.
good book for like 9 months of that.
That's
It's a
one
stupid game.
for Tom. Right, next one. I'm going to do.
Don't forget,
I'm
if
gonna
they
do
go
all of them.
second and someone puts a tiny little elf boat in front of them for 5 turns, they just lose the game.
I think my problem is I've only ever played against good knight players, which skews your perception a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
They are scary. Like they are absolutely
Yeah.
scary, but they also I think they have a broad church player base, and it can be really tough to pilot models that are so visible. And again, you have to allow for terrain across lots of different places, right? Because if you're knights and you go second against shooting on like a terrain, let's call terrain light environment, all those sorts of things, I think that can be quite rough.
Okay, right. Next
I
one.
had a win rate of 68%, so.
I love how
Votan.
modest you are, Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, children. Come on. Votan. Are they higher or lower than Imperial Knights?
Oh, I'm not making that
Votan
mistake
exists
twice.
last February.
Well, this is, in
Since.
general. Since
No, they were an April
They
Fool's
began.
Day thing, weren't they?
so, Imperial Knights are 48%. Are Votan higher or lower than 48%?
Since
So,
then,
sorry, I think I've missed the concept of this somewhere. I thought we were thinking about February.
we're thinking
Last
since
February.
February.
Since February.
Since last February.
All games from February through till now.
Oh.
No, we've gone,
Since
we've
last
gone-
February.
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting
Okay.
detention, mate. I'll tell you that.
Don't you make me get the K now. Right, are we ready? And show. That is fascinating.
It's a unanimous downvote from
It's
us.
a unanimous downvote. Votan, well, Imperial Knights were 48%, so you're saying it's lower than 48%. Votan are 52%.
Ooh!
Yeah, I mean,
So you are all shit at that round.
Oh, suck
Okay.
at
Well,
this.
last show,
Oh,
I
I
got,
think
just-
I've got
I got,
everyone.
I got in
Did they
trouble
only
last
play
show for
pre-nerf
predicting
and
them to
then
be
nobody
high.
played them since?
Right. Okay. Next round. Drukari. Ooh, Drukari. Are they higher or lower than Votan at 52%? Ready?
Born ready.
And it's proofs on stat check on. Okay, and show. Down, up, down, down. Okay, so Davey's the only one who says it's gone higher. Okay.
I just want to say, there is no way in hell it's above 52%. And I'm making this claim so I look stupid when I'm wrong. But if you cast your brain back, December, the Thick City got nerfed, and then
Yeah.
we went into a Custodes and a Tau meta.
This was the beginning of hell for Drukari.
And there has not been a good meta since.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, who has commented somehow, despite only playing like once a year, because he's had a new kid, keeps going 4-1 with them.
Yeah, he's
So
ridiculous.
he might have ruined the statistics.
He's a silly, talented player, though, Ms. Rolf, in his own right.
I hate playing as fucking Drukari.
Yeah, he's so good.
It's upsetting because he also lives in Nottingham, and we
He play all the time.
well, not so much because he has less free time. than he
yeah,
used to do, yeah.
But yeah, no, February, I remember that was the era of, oh, I'm an army that just shoots you to death before you get to stab me. That's no fun. There's no fun in that.
Okay.
Bastards.
Well, Davey, you went for higher, didn't you?
Because you're a fool.
And Davey, you are absolutely wrong because Drukari is 51%.
Fuck you, Davey.
Hey!
Only just though. Only just 51%.
How is that positive?
Whew, thought I was going to get 0 there. I'm glad.
Literally like, yeah, that's on the cusp, isn't it? 2-3 and 3-2. I can believe that.
So who got that one right? Tom,
I did.
Lewis,
My second correct one.
and Ed. Okay. Right,
No.
2 more to go. Astra Militarum, are they higher or lower than Drukari since last February?
What was Drukari again? 51, did you say?
51.
51,
Higher or
yeah.
lower than 51%? 3, 2, 1, show. It is, of course, lower. You're absolutely right.
they were
but
crap, weren't they?
46%.
They were so bad for so long. Like,
Davies off the mark, finally.
Hooray! It's about
Hey!
about the count.
One final round. So, Astra Militarum 46%. Orcs.
Orcs. Aston Martin with 46. Oh, yeah.
And 3, 2, 1, and show. You've all gone higher.
But in my heart, lower because
I'm going big.
speed freaks
Oh.
are
I'm
dead.
going
So-
big and just throwing it in the bin.
Is higher. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Only 48%, though.
Oh,
Only
Davey.
48%. And then, so two final bonus questions. I want you to write down or think, who do you think in this time period has had the highest win rate? And who do you think has had the lowest?
Easy.
And
Nailed
if
it.
you get their actual percentage, then Adam Camilleri will do unspeakable things to you.
If I go and get the models, does that count?
Sure, if you want to do that, that'll be good for the podcast.
We all like seeing out of focus blurry models.
That's a focus.
It's my favourite.
Okay, so Jack's gone Harlequin's highest and Deathwatch lowest.
It's a good
Dom's
show.
gone for Quinn's
Oh,
highest.
where are we writing this?
The
We're
lengths
writing
I
this?
will go to not to get a pen.
I don't know if this is right, but for
Cool,
content...
I've got my two.
I got my 2.
Are you ready?
Hold
Okay.
on.
Okay.
It's hard to draw
Oh,
with
does
paint.
Titanicus count? Great shout, Jack.
Okay, so on the stat check thing, there is Titanicus there. However, they have
They got a better win rate than Admech.
An 84% win rate.
I'm sure I've seen in the last year some mad lad take a Titan and win at least one game somewhere. So they must have like a plus something.
So, Adeptus Titanicus has been played 29 times.
That is impressive.
That is.
Someone's
And
taken.
Titanicus Traitoris has been played 11 times.
40 games. 40 games with a Warhound Titan.
What?
Someone's won one
Wow.
of those.
That's
100%.
40
Absolutely
people's
right.
event that they've ruined by taking that model to that event. I paid 50 quid to turn up here, and you've brought a model which is race to the game.
Okay, so
Easy
And
win,
all,
mate. Take the
free win.
points. Move on.
let's hear your highest then. What's your highest? Tom, what have you got for
Harlequin.
highest?
Oh.
I've got a Harlequin here.
Okay, and what do you think? You've
Ed, I've seen your lowest. Sorry, Chris. I'm just unacceptable. Unacceptable.
He's
Well,
almost.
there's no
I
skilled
should have
players
got one of
playing
them, but I don't have one of them here. Damn.
Oh no! Oh no! So you've got Harlequins. Davey, what's your highest?
I've gone Tyranids like the
Tyranids.
homeboys.
Lewis.
Harlequins,
Okay,
58%.
and Ed.
Yeah, Harlequins. Remember Manchester last year? I remember light boats, 9 of them.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
was a fun time.
Tiny, small
And then
niche
remember when
faction
they
that
got
doesn't have a
nerfed?
bunch of lemons playing it. Like, it's
Remember
gonna
when
stay
they
high.
got nerfed? And then
Okay,
just
missed out.
everyone played fucking light
Yeah.
for ages.
Yeah.
And then light got nerfed.
Yeah.
And then remember when light got nerfed?
Yeah.
And then everyone still played light and
Yeah.
still kept winning
It was
games.
still good.
No, because Dark got nerfed. It's not forget.
Dark got nerfed for no reason.
For
No
no
one was even
reason.
playing
Right.
Dark.
Right, nobody won Manchester last year. There were only losers at that tournament.
That keeps happening at Manchester.
Well, I'll be delighted
Oh,
to tell
God.
you that it was in fact Harlequins.
Yeah, there we
And it
go.
was 60%. And lowest.
Harlequins
not
just
far
don't
off.
have that critical mass of players, so that like when it's good, it's good. I think GSC have similar because they're quite niche. There's not a lot of people playing them, so the win rate stays very high. Because if a small number of people are having a good time with it, it just soars. You don't get that Harlequin player who tells you how he was almost in the circus once. They don't really have that kind of sort of broader social
weird.
fan base that Guard do.
There's
I'd love to meet that Harlequin player. If anyone knows of an ex-clown or nearly clown
Turns up in
Harlequin
full
player,
regalia.
I want to
Also
meet.
keep in mind, there's no guard player who went like 99.6% win rate, whereas there was a Harley player
Yeah,
who did that.
there was.
So that
Wow,
does boost.
really?
I mean, I think
Oh,
it was he lost one game
It
over
was
his entire season up until
ludicrous.
LVO.
They were ludicrous.
Mike Porter, obviously, because
Yeah.
Oh,
he's very good.
He adds a percent.
I
or
hear
two.
he's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's something
Um,
about teachers. They're really no. Hold on, that's not right.
No, that's not right. Absolutely
Oh,
not
savage.
right.
I was trying to
Oh.
think of a way to sneak something like that in, Ed, but well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well played, sir. And lowest, I'm now. It does say on the stat check that just Traitoris and Titanicus are at the bottom, but it doesn't actually give them a percentage. So does that mean 0%? I guess so. But in terms of real factions, who did we think were the lowest? So we'll give.
Depends if you
Rod on
count
that.
Imperial
I've
Fist as a
grabbed
real
a
faction.
I've grabbed a Chaos Space Marine.
Davey, come on,
You think
let's.
Chaos
I
Space
expect it
Marine?
from Ed.
Okay.
I have.
Um,
I
Their
just
book
wanna
only
give-
came out in that summer, and they've been trash either side of that.
Sure.
okay.
Let me
And
give
they
some
have, they have a lot of
anecdotal.
players that enjoy it as well.
Let me give some anecdotal evidence for why it's Imperial Fists.
Okay.
I played against a lovely guy whose name I've completely forgotten.
Lewis.
He was he'd previously played competitively. I can't remember. It was either War Machine or Magic, something like. So he knew what he was doing. He was used to tournaments. Really on the ball. Really lovely guy. I beat him. It was not much of a game because he was playing Imperial Fists and I was playing Orcs. You know, with all the guns. It wasn't a fair matchup. And then the next event I went to, I looked to the left of me in the last round, and there he was, undefeated, playing an actual army. So that was. It's got to be Imperial Fist. It's the only army that can handicap you to the point where you go undefeated at your next tournament.
Can I ask though? I agree, Ed, but does Crimson Fists count as an army?
No, because nobody plays them.
I can tell you for a fact that Crimson Fists are on this list.
Oh shit!
I'm going Crimson Fists. do
Richard
it.
Siegler played them for one event, and he did not do great.
Yeah. This is-
Okay, right.
And
Lewis,
someone
what-
paid him like thousands of pounds to do it as well.
Well,
Lewis,
Ben.
what have you gone for?
I have picked Imperial Fists and I've suggested a 34% win rate.
34%. Davey, who have you gone for?
that seems a bit
Crimson
high.
Fists.
Crimson Fist. Okay, well, I can tell you that the bottom two, excluding Titanicus, are in no particular order.
Pretty no order. The whole point of this is it's in an
Well,
order.
I'll tell you that I'm building suspense, Lewis. Come on. Are Crimson Fists and Imperial Fists.
I could
One
have got a
has-
Crimson Fist. I have a Crimson Fist to hand
One
somewhere.
has a 31% win rate, and one has a 30% win rate. The Crimson Fists have the 31% win rate.
Oh, Davey went through all the emotions.
The Rins world.
I can't even celebrate.
damn it.
That's just sad. Like
That's right.
they're obviously my nemesis has been decided, but it's like kicking a puppy when it's down and it's got no legs and cancer, and like I don't feel good about it. It's
That's the only downside I've got for 10th edition is that the factions are going away, so it's not going to be spread by Imperial Fists anymore. So
the only
I've got,
downside is they might give you good rules.
I have one event in Gibraltar to try and get that win rate up, having never taken them to an event before, so no pressure. But basically, if I win 2 games out of 6 in Gibraltar,
You're basically the Lord.
I'm increasing the win rate, so I need to
There's
go
only
2 and 4.
been 579 Imperial Fist games since last February.
And for all we know, the data slate is just going to be a PDF with all Imperial Fist changes reversed. Get wrecked, bitches.
Yes. Goodbye,
Yeah, 'cause they
motherfuckers.
used to be good, right? They used to be super strong.
They
right?
were the artillery guys. They were the original oppressive artillery build of 8th. They were very horrifying.
You should hit some RTTs, because with new rules coming out in 10th, you could be the undisputed #1 Imperial Fist player for an entire year, and you wouldn't even have to play them. That's the best thing about it. Like, get your games in now, then they die, and you're like, look at me, I'm a winner. I never have to play
Winning
this
the
bullshit
ITC.
army again. Well, not the ITC, but a small sub-faction of another bigger faction of another bigger faction. It's really meaningful.
So,
Cheers, mate. Appreciate the support.
that was
Scrivo says, bloody love Ed, and I completely agree. Ed is brilliant.
well done. So that was Guess the Warhammer meta over the last 409 days in a fun but informative game.
I like that.
Courtesy of StatCheck.
We need
It's
a
a
more
snappy
replicable
title.
title. Yeah.
I like it. It really rolls off the tongue.
I think it rolls off the tongue as well.
Yeah.
So
Definitely it's brandable.
Say it all together.
I guess
Higher or
Can we call
lower.
it the,
409 days.
Can we
I
call it
could
the Chris
take other
Tull
ideas.
School for kids that want to understand the meta good and do other
real
stuff
good.
good too?
Yeah.
That is a good name.
But yeah, I guess now we move on to
This is it. This is the end. This is listener questions. We're going to answer as many questions as we feel like. And as ever, if you want to buy Chris a nice piece of clothing and super chat him a question, he's not going to say no. He loves money. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. We're going to, in the meantime, go to the Discord where a bunch of questions have already been asked, and we're going to start there. But do stash some questions away if you are so minded. So,
Tom, while you're thinking of your first question, can I just ask, if you are watching this, we love you, thank you so much. Please do give the video a like, because it's the only way that we can get out to more people and share our tomfoolery with them.
100%.
Please
Yeah.
smash that
Please like and subscribe. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, which is actually really exciting. At one point, it looked like we were going to make it at the end of March, and we were incredibly surprised and excited at how quickly things were growing. And we still are. It's absolutely amazing. But that's going to be a really big milestone for us to hit 3,000 subscribers. If you are our 1,000 subscriber, drop me a message. I'll give you a Wraith Knight.
I feel like we have to phrase this more differently, Davey. So, do you have an opponent that you play regularly who just keeps beating you? They're really good. They're really clever. Send them a link to our show. We promise to dumb them down. Not only will they be worser at 40k, they'll be
so much
worser
worser.
at talking and also thinking. And that is a guarantee. All your money back.
Dragging people from that 4-1 to the 3-2 bracket with a smile. It is just the 6++ team. Right then.
Will
so,
enjoy yourselves.
Our first question is from Connor Nichols, and he says, Sons of War versus 6++ when?
that's on Paul Bridge. Paul Bridge is apparently organising that.
Paul Bridge is going to organise that. I assume it's some kind
Yeah,
of dance.
he's been messaging me.
dance-off.
He's been messaging me about it, but we've been trying to figure out where we do it and when, kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, sweet. All right. We'll make it happen. I'm really excited for that. That'll be
Some
fun.
of those Suns guys are going to fuck us up.
Are they actually? Are they? Oh, they're
Some
not good.
very good
They're
players.
not good at Warhammer, are they? That's not on.
Oh, that's lame.
Well,
you mean
it
Paul Bridge,
depends. Is
number
Paul
one UKTC
is Paul
player?
calling it for his the team that he's creating at Suns, or just the people that go to Suns? Because that includes like Jamie Balcom and Jack Ty and stuff like that.
Oh, they're not allowed. They're
They're not in the
They're
Suns
Walmart.
They're in
team,
Walmart.
but
they're
they do.
War Masters, mate.
Yeah.
But they do go to the Suns club.
No mercenaries. We didn't get a bunch of actual nice, good people to just allow mercenaries to play against
Yeah.
us. Come on.
Should be a tester for our league.
Yeah,
that we're gonna
absolutely.
run.
No, I'm up for that though. That'll be really fun.
It's a really nice. It's really great.
In
Actually, that
general,
Paul's
we
doing
really
that.
want to play against other teams more. So if you've got a team you want to do a game day against us, get some teams practice in, we're well up for that. We really, really are, because that's something we want to get better at. So, Just Make Stuff says, stealing from general chat with a reset in 10th, what faction are you thinking might be fun to pick up? Or what do you hope to make your 10th edition daily driver? Does anyone know what a daily driver is?
It's just the army that you play all the time. It's like
Your sort of main thing.
You've got a
Cool.
sports car that you drive on the weekends, but you're not putting the
Got
miles
you,
in it.
got
You're
you,
not
got
damaging
you.
it. You've got a Fiat out front.
Ah, nice.
I
That's a
have
cool
a few.
term.
I've been thinking about this actually
Mhm.
because I want to hit 10th edition pretty hard. LVO is just around the corner. When after it drops, it'll be just over 2 months, I think. So
You mean
there's gonna
LGT?
LVO, that's exciting.
Are you dropping in that you're going to Las Vegas, Ed?
Me and word good. So factions that I think are going to be good. You're going to start off from the top. Space Marines,
Always.
always good at the start of an edition. They're going to be getting a codex. Hand in hand, Nids. They're probably going to be a little bit better than the indexes, but not much. However, Knights are going to be huge. They've said that they're going to be increasing toughness on vehicles. They've mentioned toughness 11. If big Knights go up to
That'd be the
toughness 11,
Falchion.
Armigers go up to toughness 9. We've seen that the crack missiles on a Cyclone are going up to strength 9. I'm expecting that to mean that they're going to be wounding Armigers on 4s and big Knights on 5s.
Whoa.
Can your army deal with all of that tank? I think probably not. I think that's going to be a great place to start. And then in a similar vein, stuff like Custodes. We've seen Terminator data sheets of Grey Knights. Anyone who can bring that sort of Thousand Suns, anything that has Terminators, it looks like we might be heading into a durability meta, at least at the start of the year. Then they'll forget how to write rules and we'll be back in.
That's usually how it goes,
lethality.
right? Yeah,
But
they drop a book that can kill it all and go from there.
Yeah, they're making a. And so, as a counter to Knights being really good, Votan, if they keep their auto wounding mechanic, that's going to be something to just
Come on,
absolutely
Votan.
wreck Knights. So I think those would be my look-ins for 10th if you want to smash the meta.
Yeah, very nice. How about you guys?
The-
Anything you've got your eye on?
Yeah.
Lewis, is there a faction you like?
Well, yes. So, the Imperial Knight in me agrees with everything that Ed's just said there, and I would add that it looks like Flamers are going to ignore cover again. So Valiant's just gone a lot better, because I mean I'm hoping the Flamer will keep AP2, and if it ignores cover as well, with the way they seem to be changing up the saves and things like that, then should be good. Which I always thought Flamers should ignore cover. I never understood why they lost that.
They did. Was it 4th, 5th?
Yeah, no, they fifth, all the way up to 7th they ignored cover, and then 8th and 9th they didn't. But not sure why. So that would be really cool. But I don't know. I keep looking at all of my Tyranids on the shelf, and I keep looking at the new models they're bringing out, and I just think could get into Tyranids. But I do want to finish them. I want to get the Imperial Fist to 2k points. Obviously, at the moment it's at 1750, so I want to get it up to 2,000 points. So I'm looking at, I assume, the starter box, which is going to be Imperial Fist and Tyranids, and I'm thinking maybe we could invest in a little starter box and finish the fists and continue with some Tyranids.
Yeah,
I do
amazing.
want to repaint the Tyranids. I've just got 7,000 points of them, so I don't know if I really want to repaint all of them.
Woof. Wow.
But they were painted like 15 years ago, so I can do a lot better now.
What colour scheme are your Nids?
Kraken at the moment.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, the red and cream style. So
Painted with
I
a
might
acrylic.
just pick out the key unit, like I'll do the Titan and things like that. So because hopefully the Titan will go up to toughness 12 and just be a monster, which would be nice.
Great. How about you boys up top, Chris and Davey? What are you thinking?
I reckon Davey's going to go for Tyranids or Eldar.
Well, with Ed's point of being the durability meta, I think I'm going to go with Eldar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a sound bet.
Eldar haven't been overpowered for like 6 months, so it's coming. Like it's due.
Just to chime in, every time they write rules for Eldar, they're broken. So I don't know if that extends to indexes, but
hope it
maybe.
does. I am backing 100% that it will.
Yeah.
100%. I will just have all my elves of all stripes ready to go because one of them will be nuts. It's just a question of which one and how. Or maybe it's all 3 at once. Maybe you can run all 3 at once. Who knows? We'll see what they do.
I mean, I've really hedged my bets, as I mentioned to Tom the other day. I'm like, I've bought some Dark Reapers because they can't be crap for this many years.
I think they'll be let back out.
Well, they were ridiculously good
They'll be back off
before.
the naughty step. I think. Yeah. That's a classic first event thing. I had my 9 block of Dark Reapers. I got it out. I shot. I forgot to fire and fade, and they just all got killed. And I had one of those moments where it's like, no, I'm not going to do this twice. You kill them all. And they killed them all. And
Fire and
I
slate.
have not forgotten that again.
It needs to be done. That's how you remember things.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. It was one of those moments of like, yeah, no, that's fine. I'll take my medicine. It's only 300 points of one wound else. It's fine. Oh, fantastic.
Chris,
Chris,
what about you?
I'll just see who looks the most fun to play. I've got a selection.
I think that's a really sensible.
I've got the elves. I've got
casual.
Stodies.
Yeah. I'm really excited to paint the new Marine bits as Flesh Terrors and the new Nids bits as, I think, High Fleet Behemoth. I like Behemoth the most. But I'll actually run the armies that are already fully fleshed out. Go on, write some crazy leadership rules, make Night Lords accidentally mental, and then I can finally use them in a semi-competitive setting.
We know that's not going to happen because every time they say they're trying to write good leadership rules, they're bad.
Yeah,
What we need them to do is give up on leadership rules, and at that point, leadership will be well fleshed out, and then Night Lords will be good.
Yeah, 100%. There's no way.
So, 11th edition.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much for that question. Just make stuff. Sindri. Is that like Sindri, like Sindri from Dawn of War? Love that. Sindri! After GW confirmed that OC will vary across unit types and model sizes, what do you guys think of the idea of models and units with an OC of 0?
OC stands for objective
fucking
control.
servitors and acolytes and all the fucking stupid made-up units that people use to take up space and hold objectives when they fucking shouldn't and have been doing for years and years. Single Ghouls, get in the bin. To hell with all of you. You're a tosser. Right? None of that. Hold an objective with something that looks like it might actually want to hold an objective, like a grown-up. So yeah,
definitely not a biased take by someone who plays armies with 40-point units. Other people can have cheap objectives too.
You can take it away from fucking Cabalites if you want, so be it. But yeah, I think some stuff that can't hold objectives feels like a very sensible.
Nurglings.
Nurglings, yeah, I love Nurglings.
I have just personal hatred for Nurglings.
Fucking take it off them, or the whole unit has a 1. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean swarms, right?
Yeah, I think someone mentioned that in the group chat, like having the unit with 1, because it feels so weird having stuff on a point that can't hold it when nothing else is there. It's like, I mean, I get from a rules perspective why you'd have that, but it just feels wrong to be like, here's my 5 models. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, 100%. But we'll see how they go. Obsec, I think, has always had really good mission play, and sort of the finesse of that was a big part of being good at it over the last couple of editions, I think. But I think simplifying that down and not just having certain things that just trump it. Although, of course, let's wait until they go, well, this unit counts as OC, blah, 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 and then your OC now is halved because I've got the magic mask of no, you don't. It's all coming. It's all coming, because that's the only way that we can go forwards is to make this stupid, and so just all be at peace with that from the start, because that's how it goes. That's how it has to go.
Durability and high OC.
Yeah, that's what it'll be to start off with. It'll be a bunch of stuff shoveling into stuff.
Which, going back to my point, they mentioned that knights, I think, would have high OC. So
I think they're going to have very high OC, because big knights have had a rough time, haven't they? So it's time for something that counts as like 20 models that's going to walk up.
Hell yeah, brothers! OC 30 on a Valiant.
That seems excessive.
It'll be fine, don't worry.
No, it won't, because then people will play them.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with it.
We're
need
to
to see more
charge
variety.
them, though.
I'm
I've got a big
sick
flamer.
of seeing 14 armigers. Just annoys me. It's
Yeah,
not
I
an
hate
army.
it. I hate Armageddon. I hate it.
Yes, no,
so
it's an
much.
awful army, and no one should play it, he says with his volunteer river.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am, but
I
not
don't
for
think
arbitrary
you will be.
reasons.
Lee Jones asked us, if the scoring system stays similar in 10th, should GW keep or get rid of faction secondaries? This is an interesting thing. Would you get rid of secondaries? Would you just not have secondaries?
They can't balance them, is the problem. If they could, great, but they can't. So put everyone on an even playing field. This is coming from a person whose all the armies he enjoys playing have bad secondaries at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. Like, you've got to work so much harder to beat. Like, when the perfect storm happens and Dark Angels go, oh, actually, we are really good, and we also score really high, and then you go, oh, fuck. Like, how do I outplay this? I've got, a fucking meat stick on legs across the table from me going, well, I've got 85 points for turning up. It's not as bad as it was earlier in the edition, but it's incredibly frustrating, and it just funnels you into playing very specific things. Which
Yes.
there's always going to be something like that in the meta. But if you can like reduce the points of failure, I think. Keep them for casual play. Keep it for like in the codex. Great, perfect. That's absolutely fine.
So
But not
are
in the
you,
match
are you
play.
talking about a world in which we don't have secondaries at all, or we just have book secondaries?
I'm open to another system. I like secondaries, but maybe they'll do something more gooder, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
I think secondaries are very schematic. That's the thing I've felt with Ninth, is that you know exactly what you're going to do when you go into the game, and you always do that same thing. And the opponent is if they know what they're doing, has a plan and is going to do the same thing. And it's kind of like two building overlays, kind of just brushing up against each other and seeing what ends up happening.
Especially if you only play one tournament format, and then Warhammer is very much just paint by numbers.
Yeah, 100%. Which I don't enjoy. And that's where the follow-up question from Age of Sigmar main.
I was just about to say that.
Definitely not international 40k player. Scrivo says, to follow up, would you like picking a secondary per turn like Age of Sigmar's battle tactics system? Yes, I think in turn and in-game mission objectives are brilliant. I've always enjoyed that aspect of Maelstrom.
Needs more player skill.
Yeah, 100%, because it's reactive and adaptive, right, rather than schematic, and that I think we want to have that more, and I think that actually helps people who just want to turn up and think on their feet on the day, rather than people who want to play the same matchup 10 times on TTS before they go and play someone because they're keen beans. Keen beans. Yeah. Anyone else got thoughts on that? Do we want to see sort of battle tactics?
I like the Sigmar stuff. Sorry, Ed, but
No.
I've not really got a major point anyway. But just from the reading I've been trying to do in preparation for the Sigmar Slam tickets are available, that way of building your game kind of changes over the course of it, rather than, as you say, setting it all up in advance and then just laying out a plan and doing it. You have to kind of react to what your opponent's doing and what's changing through the game. So
I think that gives you more come back into game potential. I think the issue with the schematic style is you get that moment where it's like, oh, mine has flopped, yours is up, and really it's very, very, very rare that one comes back to the other. Although shout out to Sam Bodge for almost pulling off a 25-point swing in the final turn in our game earlier on today. You absolute maniac. Teleported 2 dudes, defused 2 bombs, just had to make a gate, failed a gate, couldn't make his objective, fell just short. If he'd made the gate cast, he'd have done it. It would have been just incredible. It was the most cinematic bullshit I've ever seen. Super fun. Right, okay. Ed, did you have some more thoughts on that? You were going to come in.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything serious. I was just going to say I don't know how the Age of Sigmar system works, and thus I fear it. And I don't want it. Change is bad. We will stick to the status quo, please, even though it is broken and doesn't work.
Something that isn't just killing and holding, I think, makes the game better.
Hold on now. But I like killing. Not hear any of that heresy in my ears.
I like what faction secondaries add to it, but I think something that makes them more reactive, because again, like Sigmar has different factions have some of those themselves. They can pick one of these things to be trying to do in the game, and I think that might.
But that's because you play factions with good faction secondaries.
I do. But I also face.
Davey, would you like to chip in about Tyranid fucking faction secondaries?
Oh man,
how good are they?
What a belter!
I may have to use that one sometimes.
I use it against knights on occasion. Yeah.
Davey used to take cranial feasting against me all the time.
Oh, I love cranial feasting. That was a great secondary.
No, it wasn't. It was never.
I was learning.
It was good when you had a higher
made me
fun.
kill my Exarchs, which I don't want to do because they're valuable. They're expensive.
Yeah, so you do something you don't want to do, and I score no points, so you win. So there's that, right?
While I'm on my fucking soapbox, that is why it's such a stupid thing having faction secondaries, because all you have to do, if someone takes cranial feasting and they have guns in their list, you kill the squad sergeants when they shoot you, and that is such a dumb mechanic that I can kill you and then come and eat the rest of the squad, and I lose points. Well, I don't lose points. I don't gain points because of it. It's such a bad.
It's so poorly thought through. It's like they did not test that.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
And
like
they didn't fucking replace it.
Yeah,
they've had two opportunities now to replace it, I think, and they didn't do it. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do this to me?
I think, for me, right, I think that I agree with Ed in terms of the secondaries that you take are pretty bad or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much options. You could randomize it, so you could say, right, okay, well, we pick a card and maybe you have to choose one. That way, you could potentially, like, have specific either faction or maybe general like Imperium, Xenos, whatever faction secondaries that go per mission. So the mission is specific. So, for example, they do love doing like retrieve the tear down their icons. Great example. You're going there to blow up some your opponent's stuff, so you can choose one of these 3 secondaries. And if you're Xenos, you can maybe do this one. I don't know. It's so difficult because whatever you do, you're just gonna make a shit sandwich, and it's one of those, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe just keep the scoring easy and like not easy but simple and consistent, but make the missions more interesting. That might be a way to approach it, and then everyone has the same problems.
I agree. This is what I mean. I think the missions could be more interesting.
In pursuit of that goal, a couple of missions with player-place objectives is what I'd like. That I don't want it. I don't want them to always be in the exact same place. I find that really dull. Really, really dull. Cool. All right. Great question. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
so we've got a lot today. So Paint Celestine says, "What do you do if you are struggling to perform with a faction? Keep getting reps in and practice?" Question mark.
Sorry, it was just like, what have you done before? Wow.
Does anyone want to go?
How does that make you feel?
Davey, you seem to be approaching the topic. Please.
I mean, I think if I may, that if you're struggling to perform with a faction, you have to decide whether you're playing that faction because you wanted to do well or because you just love that faction.
Yeah.
And because the answer to that question is different depending on your mindset. If your mindset is, I just love Tyranids. Tyranids is just it. That is just me. I love it. It's brilliant. I just want to play Tyranids. Then practice makes perfect is the correct answer, because you get your reps in, you keep playing, you change things up, you work out what works for you, and eventually you'll stumble across something that you just think, actually, this is either so far left field, or I'm just so practiced at it, I know how to score my points, and I can play into the majority of the meta and get a decent amount of points. That only comes with practice, especially if you're playing a faction that's down on power. If you are playing because you want to go and do well at events and you want to win events and push your kind of results to the next level, in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily make you a better player, it just means your results are better, then you're best just to cut your losses and try somewhere else. Because sometimes it could just be the playstyle doesn't suit you, or the army just isn't very good at the moment. And fighting that, if you don't love the faction, it's going to suck your enjoyment out of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason I've stuck with my armies is because I love them and I want to play them and I really get into it. So it doesn't bother me they're not very good, and I'll find ways around them to actually start going 4-1, 5-0 at events with it, but it takes years of practice. And that's a lot of time to put in, a lot of time to be going to events getting battered until you find the way it works, which you should only do. You shouldn't feel like you're forced to play a faction because you've
100%, yeah.
Just play what you love, or if you want to go and do well, just go and play what's good.
Yeah. And own either of those ones and know which one you are. Know what your heart wants.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And go and get it. And don't worry about what other people say either. It's very important. And that includes me. You've got to be able to ignore whatever I say because I say stupid stuff. I'm not consistent.
There's a middle ground as well. You definitely can play stuff that you like, but it's also good. Especially when you get to the point where I think most of us are in the hobby. You've got 3 or 4 armies, and you like all of them. And you go, wow, Nids have got a new book. They're pretty fucking mega at the moment. Guess they're getting a run out for the next 3 or 4 events. Yeah. So it's definitely a middle ground there.
Yeah, I think that layering up is actually a big deal as well. I know that was something actually that Vic has talked about, where he's had a breakout year, and in part that's because through playing for several years and several editions, he's now got that big collection which he can go to and jump into and get things right. And I think that helps. But that journey takes quite a long time to actually level through. And I would certainly say when you are new and you are losing games, trust me, you are losing games because you are new and you are not playing to the fullest of your potential. Army difference is going to matter, but getting the game right and playing very well is something you can always be working on, even in games where you're losing and they're one-sided. You can still be working to play better and sharpen up on all of the basics, and getting that down first, I think, is always, again, you can be doing that whatever your actual win rate or your outcomes at events. You can still be tightening up how you play and what your outcomes are. And
on the player skill front, I bet if you searched on Warhammer Competitive, you'd find someone saying, my mate's really good, like he's playing the OP Imperial Fists. How do I beat him with my Tyranids?
Mate, yeah.
Don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just add one last thing? So, I for those who don't know, I used to do stand-up comedy for 10 years, and the first 5 years was literally dying on your hole every single time you did it, and analysing why you were shit. And because you do that over and over and over again, then you suddenly learn the tricks of the trade. Same thing here, right? You will lose loads, and it's not because you're crap, it's not because you're a bad person, it's not because of anything like that. It's because it takes literally, as Lewis says, years to get your head around how the game works. Even when editions change, even all these different things about movement, it takes ages. So the only thing I would say is analyze everything you're doing, take away learnings, and just keep going, man. Just keep going.
Absolutely. Franco,
Enjoy the ride.
hello, Franco. I hope you're recovering okay, mate. He says doing well with the army you love is so satisfying. I completely agree, Franco, because the nice thing about running an army you love is that whatever happens in the game, you've still done one of the things you wanted to do that day, and I think that's a real positive, right? My Jakari 3-2 the other weekend was probably my favourite event of the last 6 months. Although all the other ones with GSC have gone better, I just fucking love running stabby elves around. It's just a good time, and that's well worth it. I think having those experiences. Great. Okay. Paul says I used to be a comedian, but everyone laughed at me, so I quit. Hello, Paul. We love you, buddy. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep picking them out of the Discord. Let's start alternating with ones that are in chat, because people have bungaloed in. So if someone else wants to, I don't mind, Chris, Davey, whoever, if someone else wants to go
We
on
had one
into-
from Aaron, which was a super chat.
Yeah. Do you want to take that one now? And then I'll pick another one out of here.
Are you willing to choose a single faction to use for an entire GT pack? And what would it be?
I think this is really, really interesting.
6 months now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's. I don't know whether if you were trying to look at ways you could reform the ITC or reform the scoring system to a way that, if you want to be represented at the top level, you could be a little bit more restrictive with those top players on how they score their points. And actually, is something like committing to a faction for an X month period, is that a better metric of how good a player is when compared with just the best players that just change faction every 15 minutes when a new book comes out and it's better than everything else? Are you getting a better... I don't know what the answer is or whether that's correct or not, but are you getting a better measure of how good everyone is if people are going, right, this is now the Arcs of Omen season, you can pick 2 factions and they're the factions you're running for 6 months, and then we'll see where everyone's at points wise by the end of that.
It would be really funny if you did it for indexes and you just had a 6 month run off the indexes and you said everyone has to pick before we know what's in them.
Well, I think that's why you can't do it, because
you just can't.
Yeah, like especially if you pick something and then it gets nerfed, and you're like, oh, guess I'm gonna have no fun for the next 3 months.
Well, you just don't go to the events, right? And that's the problem, is people will just stop going to events.
Yeah. I'd be okay with it. I typically run an army for like 6 to 8 months and then find something else to do. But I think a lot of people wouldn't have fun doing that, or you've managed to eke out a little bit of success with an army, be like, fuck this, I can't do it anymore, I can't play AdMech. I've got to play something, and this is something that I had when I was playing, back end of 2022, I think, no, 21. People were just so down on their AdMech when I was playing them. They're like, yeah, this is not fun for me. I'm going to play Sisters or whatever. So I think it would be like it's a fun idea, and you could do like a opt-in rankings perhaps as an additional. But I think making it the main way of scoring would be too limiting.
No, completely. Aaron says, draw your line in the sand, Tom. No, I won't do it, Aaron. Because I like being able to design responses to the meta using armies I love, and that's what I want to be able to do, and I'll continue doing that. Or if one of my armies is busted, just run you over with that. Yeah, either one's absolutely fine. Oh, very good. Right, so in the Discord we've got, which of the Chaos Gods would you prefer to spend an evening with?
We all know the answer to this. Next.
But that's why I think you don't go with the obvious pick. Surely you don't. Is it not just too obvious? Oh, yeah, David picks the Emperor. Of course he did. The Emperor's going to be reviewing some tournaments and upcoming lists on our next show.
I think it has to be Zinch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly the right answer. Yeah.
Corn kills you.
Yeah.
Nurgle at best permanently disfigures you.
Not food poisoning going on.
You're not coming back from Slaanesh, or if
No,
you
you're
do,
not.
you're a broken husk of a man.
Yeah. You
And
already know how that one goes, and it's
Tzeentch-
not good.
Tzeentch might fuck you up, or it might not.
I don't know. With Tzeentch, you've got a pretty high percentage chance of appearing at the end of the evening with tentacles or extra eyes.
But you've got a non. Every other one, just you've got a 0% chance. I feel like Tzeentch is the one where you like maybe he thinks it's funny to not fuck you up, and you just live your entire life nervous that something's gonna happen down the line, and that's it.
And I think you'd see something about the direction and path of your life and your place in the world in a conversation with Tzeentch, whether not necessarily in a good way, but that might be quite interesting.
I'd quite like if Vashtor ever ascends, an evening with him at the scientist in me would be like, yeah, I'd want to learn some shit. I reckon an evening with him, you would know some stuff.
Certainly not how to be a good unit in 40k.
Yes, not how to fight.
He's just going to sound like a 40-year-old mechanic. he's you sat down with him and he's just sound mate.
All right, mate.
Yeah. No, you blow the gasket there. It's going to cost you, but I've got a mate who can probably get some of those. I reckon 50 quid, something like that. Yeah, no, bring
it right here all of a sudden.
But my backup plan, if my life really goes to shit, I'm going to get hench. I'm going to shave my head off, grow a big beard, change my name legally to Appy Spanners, work in mechanics. I think it's important.
I think
that's genuine. That is my backup life plan. I could be very happy doing that.
Appy Spanners.
That sounds amazing. Sounds absolutely amazing. Cool. Have we got another one from the chat we want to pick up?
Not really. There's a lot of just general comments.
Yeah, you're all shit. Write better comments.
Yeah, you have let yourselves down, your family down. No, nothing in the last 15-20 minutes or so.
No, that's cool. Great. Okay, well, we've still got a few decent ones in here, and then we'll call it a night, I think. So, Ultimate Funk says, which of the other 6++ers do the panel most fear getting in the inevitable round 3 Plus versus Plus
Paul.
matchup? It's Paul. You don't want to play Paul.
The answer to every 6++ question is Paul.
Yeah, I love Paul, but I don't want to play him outside of an event, much less at one, because that Terminator list is horrific, and he just kills me with it every time.
I'm really excited to play Paul at some point, because you guys have bigged him up to be the fucking Baba Yaga. So I'm very keen. I'm really looking forward to it.
He's just very good at running you over with 50 Terminators.
Is Paul the man you send to kill the boogeyman?
My answer is Tom, because unfortunately the lists I like playing match up very poorly into the lists you like playing.
They do.
I like tanky, middle of the road, I'm gonna fucking run you over, and he likes Eldar or Gene Stealer cult bullshit.
Yeah, it's true.
Who cheat. Not, I'm pretty sure that's how it is, because he'll do stuff and I'm like, no, that is true.
I'm gonna blow my own trumpet for a bit here, but how embarrassing would it be to get to round 3, end up playing my Imperial Fist and losing? Like, you go into a game with Paul, you're probably going to lose, but you can look at that and go, fair enough, he's a really good player, he's got a really good army. If you go into a game round 3 with me and I beat you, that's pretty poor.
It's really bad, yeah, it's really bad.
You could never show your face again.
I do actually have an anecdote about this from my last team. So, used to be on the team Savvy Submariners, and there's a really lovely guy called John.
May they rest in peace.
John, he's
for the Savvy Submariners.
John is in the Navy, so he's away for like 6 to 8 months at a time. Yeah. And we went to the Newcastle GT.
Oh, hang on, wait, sorry. So is it Savvy Submariners?
Oh, probably, but you know.
I've always just thought it was Submariners, but actually there is actually a naval connection.
I assume that's got an actual genuine naval connection. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
That's all right. Let's go with that. Anyway, so we were at Newcastle, and John had come back, and someone had said he'd gone, "What's good at the moment? I haven't got time to learn an army." So someone had given him a Leviathan Nids list. This was, like June, July, whenever Newcastle was, and in round 3. There were 4 of us from Savvy's at the event, and we all paired into each other. And I got John. I was also playing Nids. And unfortunately, I was telling him how to play his army at the time. And he beat me at the end through player skill, so I'm not getting salty. But he charged me. First of all, he was trying to move his Hive Tyrant. And I was like, you're not going a bit further? He's like, oh, well, I've moved 12 inches. Hive Tyrant's move 17. Don't worry, John. Get a bit closer to me. And then he charged me with the Hive Tyrant. I go, oh, cool, are you using any strats? He said, oh, I don't think I've got any to use. I was like, mortal wounds on the charge, extra attacks on the charge. You can re-roll your wounds. He's like, I'm using all of them. So that was the worst nightmare, was because really I was playing myself. And there's the meta answer.
Oh, nice.
And then at the end of the game, he nicked my primary from me because I wasn't paying attention. The bastard. So.
Oh, that's naughty. That's very naughty. Chris, did you have a different answer, by the way?
Mine would be Jamie East, because I can't afford to lose to him at an event again.
No, you can't. He will be the actual captain if you lose him again. That'll be a permanent.
I've played him twice at an event now. The first time was when I had my randomised AdMech list and ran into his Death Guard, and it was just an unwinnable game. And we called early. And then last time when I had my Harleys, and it was all going so well, and then I had a nightmare of a turn 4 and just.
I've actually never played Jamie East, and everything about him says to me that would be a very fun game. So I'd like.
As long as you like spending your
at some
entire
point
time
in the
insulting
next couple of months, Jamie Clifford will beat me with the Siege Demons. We all know it's coming. It's inevitable. So I look forward to it.
He wants to play Knights at the moment. He's just messaging me about playing his Knights.
How randomised was your AdMech army? I've had an idea.
They had 2 Honor Dune crawlers, so pretty random.
It was so I gave a unit a dice value.
Right. Yes. This is
a
what I was
2d6 dice value, and I just rolled it up literally completely randomly.
Who's coming to the Saffron Walden GT and wants to do that?
It was fun, and
the next one.
The May one. It was cool. I did it on. I live streamed it and everything. It was really cool to do. I got an absolute shocking list, but
that's something we're going to have to do on this now that we're actually live and have an audience. We're going to just have to. That's got to happen. Someone's going to have to randomise a list on here.
Tell you what, I have got. And my doubles partner's not going to be happy with this. I'm going up to Norwich at the end of May for the doubles there. So I've got 1,000 points of. It could be Nids, it could be Imperial Fists, or it could be Knights, or it could even be Tau. So I could randomise army and randomise list.
I think they'd love you for that. They would absolutely love you.
My doubles partner's going to be like, for fuck's sake. What is this?
Sorry, I got an online chat of miscreants to decide what random Imperial Fist units to bring. Here are my ironclads.
I drove to Norwich for this. Oh my god!
Actually, thinking about it, I might have to do it with Tyranids because I don't have that many Imperial Fists different unit.
Yeah, you need a nice range, don't you?
Yeah,
Tyranids
and that was the point. It was just AdMech were at their height, and it was like, well, because I remember Eric Lethurus had done it with some army. It was like, can you? Is the Codex so powerful that you can take any unit and do well with it? So I was like, right, here we go. I randomly generated it. I got the one unit I didn't want, which was like 4 Castellan robots. So I had to try and take them. And then, literally, a day later, they released a new data slate or whatever, nerfed the fuck out of AdMech, and I was now wielding this very, very amateur and mediocre army. I managed to go 3-2. It was like an exercise in just trying to get every little thing out of every little unit, and it was good fun. But you have to be.
I'm looking forward to my Toxicrene. That needs to run out.
You have to be prepared that it might be miserable at certain points.
You have to be prepared that you won't be able to move it between terrain.
Yes.
I've always thought that I just have a general agreement with my opponent where the tentacles just don't count. Can't see them, can't interact with them, I can't use them.
Hopefully they introduce something like that this time around, because I think we just need to bring an end to the here's your tiny bit of feather and now you're dead.
Yes.
It's bollocks. Right, we've got 2 questions and then I think we're going to finish up and get out of here. So
it's been a really quick episode that we planned on doing.
Yeah, to still eke it out to 2 hours.
we might get out before 2 hours, but it's not looking likely. So,
I can't stop myself from talking.
neither can I. There's just too many chatters on this show. And also, to be fair, we had a guest come on this time, so that's
a good point.
That added some.
So long ago.
Jack Asher says, if you could bring one AOS faction into 40k, who would it be, and what sort of rules would you want them to have? What AOS faction would you want in 40k, guys?
Disciples of Zinch.
Oh, okay.
I can only apologise for my tomfoolery.
Bretonians?
Yes.
I wish
yes.
they were in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, they're not even in Sigmar, right?
That's
Yeah,
not
hold on.
going to work, is it?
Full-on cavalry charge at all
Oh
times.
yeah,
Yeah,
Skaven. Shiruni has a great one.
Skaven would be great, right?
Skaven would work.
Shiruni's spot on. Skaven would be really cool to have.
Shout out Jack Doddy doing Skotan, Leagues of Votan, completely converted from Skaven. They look incredible.
I've played a GSC player who's got the same thing, where all the bikes were little rat wheels.
Yeah. The old cheese stealer cult conversion.
Probably
Cheese
the
stealer.
cheapest way
It's
to...
quite a popular one. There's quite a lot of that on the old GSC Discord. People like to do that. It works really well.
Zombie dragons. I don't
Yeah,
care whatever
undead-
form they take.
That's
I want a
a
zombie
valid
dragon.
argument.
Yeah, Sarantis says there is no undead faction in 40k, and that is
Necrons,
to an
right?
extent true. Necrons
Yeah.
are sort of filling that niche, and also you have
Sci-fi undead.
zombies in Death Guard. You've got a few
Yeah.
zombie things. But yes, proper undead would be quite spicy, I think. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head from that particular.
My answer would have been Cadron Overlords, but I guess we've kind of got them with
Yeah,
Votan.
yeah.
Just,
No, 100%.
just give me skyships as well, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sarantis says Necrons are not undead, to which I say, yes, they are, and it's my show. No, you're absolutely right. They're not undead, but they might as well be.
Before
Then-
you go on to the other one,
yeah.
we did have a question in chat that was
Oh.
then copied because we missed it the first time, and then we
Oh.
missed it the second time. So
Was this a Sean question?
Sean
Someone's
Capewell.
annoyed with us.
how no, it was John copied it for someone else.
Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, how to use stickle to your game plan?
How do you stick to your game plan? Thank you very
How
much,
do
Sean.
you
Appreciate
stickle
that.
to
Not
your
what it
game
says. It says, how do you stickle to your game plan? That's the
So,
question.
I like to stickle to my game plan with... I don't know.
I think the answer
I
is you
tried
don't.
to think and then I couldn't.
Yeah,
I think the correct answer is determine what you need to do to win, determine what you need to do to stop your opponent from winning, and then as you
doing
go on, assess what can I do here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, here's an opportunity. I can throw away those 10 breaches, and it's going to deny my opponent any primary at all, and it's going to get me bonus points here. So it's like you can have a rough game plan, which is mine normally is win the game and not lose. And I stick to that as much as possible.
Great.
Sometimes you get Alex Petford round 1
3 out
playing
of
Dark
5
Angels,
times.
and it's
Yeah.
hard to stick to that plan. But yeah, I think it's mostly an on the fly, I would say. Just
Yes.
assess what you need to do, what your opponent needs to do, and
But
tweak from
having like an overall sense going in of what, certainly on your side, what the thing you need to do is, I think, is certainly helpful, right? And so some overall sense of plan, I think, is useful. Or knowing things again, like what are the key things I need to kill to stop them killing me? Where are the key places I need to be at the end of the game? All those kinds of things. But as Ed says, it's about adapting and reacting to the needs of and the opportunities presented by the mission and your opponent and those kinds of things. And that's what good players do really well, is they seize openings and they don't create bad openings for themselves by doing things for no reason. Very good question. Thank you, Sean. And then finally, Paul says, what new faction would you like to see being brought into 10th? So I'm going to lead on this one, because when the GW team designed things in Sigmar, they eventually appear in some form or another in their 40k version quite a lot of the time. This often happens with Chaos stuff, with Demon stuff, Dwarf stuff, Dead stuff. There's been a lot of Dead stuff refreshing in the same time as Necrons. Dinosaurs are being done in AOS this summer. Exodites. Exodites will come in 10th. That's what I'm going to say. Elves on dinosaurs, I'll be all over it. That's what I want. Use those sort of big, new Lizardmen style bits and bobs and some of the aesthetics from that and do Eldar Exodites. That's what I'd love to see. Anyway, over to everyone else.
I mean, I think the rumours are that there's going to be a new Xenos faction this year coming, or this edition coming. So, I mean, we don't need more elves, actually. Fuck elves.
Yes, we do. Elves
no,
on dinosaurs.
I mean, they're really cool, but then I was speaking and I was like, oh, but then it's just some more jank that someone's going to play against me, and it'll make me sad. So, yeah, not them.
You know, in the original book trilogy of the Horus Heresy, they're fighting against the kin something or other. They're like aliens, like
Do you mean the spider things?
Yeah, but
Yeah, like the
super
mega
sharp
mega
blades and
arachnids,
stuff.
they call them, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Those sound awesome.
Yeah, that.
It's like proper insectoids rather than, because nids are sort of like dino bugs, aren't they? It's like It's
We're a bit of
tricky.
everything. I mean, if you look at the new
Yeah.
stuff they're doing, is that big crab thing, right? That apparently sits in objectives and gives buffs out or some shit.
Grab people.
Yeah,
grab
man,
people.
it's tough, isn't it? Because it's where does it fit in? Is it super tough.
I'd quite like to see quite a big expansion to the Tau range, because I think you could add in new aliens that enmesh with the Tau faction to a point where you wouldn't have to design a whole new faction. You could just build them in, like to do with the Kroot and the Vespid.
Let me take
Yeah.
Brood Brothers with my Tau. It's they
As
have
as
human
auxiliaries.
auxiliaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
What
I'd like an Inquisition plug-in as well, like a proper one.
That'd be quite nice. Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
Because there was that artwork. I remember when I was but a teenager looking at second edition books, and there was a picture of all the random Xenos, and I always remember there was a Necron there, which this was before Necrons were released, and there was like a Chewbacca looking thing.
An army of
And-
teddy bears.
And Chewbacca is quite marketable, right? So if you can try and rip off some big hairy monster,
Absolutely.
and then that's kind of got its own design space of being just dead strong, and or
I
something.
just
I
want to
guess.
point out, sorry, that you said you're a teenager looking at a second edition book, and I just want to call you old.
Yeah.
Ah,
that's
yeah,
reasonable.
yes. That's good.
That's absolutely reasonable. I think I'm the oldest person on this call. Yeah.
Could well be.
You don't look a day past 21.
Certainly
David.
since Adam left.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Right. In order to say that this was a short show, we have to stop now, because otherwise it won't have been a short show.
Under 2 hours.
Thank you so much for tuning in. That was really, really fun. Great to see you all, and we will see you all again in the near future. Be well out there. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.